Hello, Neil here from NRG Effects, and welcome once again to my little workshop on the south coast of England where I design and hand make all of my effects pedals. Today we're going to take a look at some of the utility units that are available to order now from nrgeffects.com, including the NRG buffer that is now available to order in an alternative layout that you can see here on the bottom of this pedal train board. We'll take a look at the new PASSER. That is a multi-purpose switcher that does true bypass switching, AB switching and mute switching all in one little unit. And then these guys, the FORKER and its big brother, the FORKER Plus, that are both designed for 2 amplifier or multi-output situations. So they do signal splitting, buffering, ground isolation, phase reverse. The bigger unit here, the FORKER Plus, can work in stereo and also has output foot switching. So let's check them all out. Here we go. Here is the NRG buffer. Very small, very simple little unit with just an input, output and a 9-volt DC socket. You can also now get it in this alternative layout, as you can see below this pedal board, with all the sockets running along one edge. So you can now choose which layout best suits the space available on your pedal board. So very basically, what is a buffer? Well, your passive guitar pickups can't drive long cable lengths. As in, if you plug a long cable straight from your guitar to your amplifier, you'll be losing clarity and signal strength. The longer that cable, the more clarity and signal strength you'll lose. If you put a buffer, like this little guy, early in your signal chain, then this will drive your long cables, so you will keep all your clarity, signal strength and consistent tone. That's very helpful before true bypass pedals, because that still is like adding lots and lots of cable, running cable in, out through all the pedals. But on top of that, what you don't want is a buffer that significantly changes your tone and the feel of your guitar. So I spent a lot of time making sure this little circuit sounds just like running a short cable from your guitar straight to your amp. So let's take a listen to the guitar just going through a short cable run straight to the amplifier. And now switch in the buffer. So as you can hear, the sound's very natural, just like a short cable straight to your amp. Now let's take a listen to about 12 meters of cable running through a couple of true bypass pedals. The tone is noticeably duller. Now switch in the buffer. And that's the buffer doing its job, bringing back all that signal strength and clarity. Here's the NRG PASSER, the new multi-purpose switcher. The first simple thing you can use it for is just as a mute switch. So if you don't put anything in the send and return sockets, simply press the switch and your sound is muted, shown by the lit LED, and unmuted. There we go. The next thing you can use it for is as a true bypass looper. So that means you can put something in the send and the return sockets. So you can take a cable and put in one or more other pedals and effects and then return. So with it disengaged, you'll then just true bypass straight in, straight out, click the switch, lights up, and then you're engaging what's in the loop. Really helpful if you want to run a group of pedals together as a certain sound, switch them in and out, or to bypass certain effects that maybe are noisy or don't have a good bypass within themselves, something like that. Okay, and the third thing you can use it for is as an AB switcher, and that can be an input AB, so 2 inputs, A and B inputs, to 1 output. You switch between the 2, normally in A, switch to B, lights up, or as an AB output switcher, single input, A and B outputs, light switches on when you're on B, off when you're on A. So there it is, really simple little unit, small size, also has, you'll see 2 9-volt sockets. That is because they're linked, so it only takes power for the LED. It's totally passive switching. So that means you're not going to lose an output of your power supply. You can just go into one and out again to another pedal, so you haven't lost an output of your power supply. Yeah, the NRG PASSER, available now, nrgeffects.com, and here it is in action. So with nothing in the send and return sockets, it's simply acting as a signal mute switcher. Let's check it out as a true bypass effects loop switcher. That's a true bypass sound, and now we're going to switch in the effects loop with the purrer. And also add in the humper for some mid-range boost. So we can now bypass and switch in this combination of effects as one sound. Here's the PASSER working as an input A-B switcher. It's guitar 1. And there's guitar 2. Let's switch back to guitar 1. Can obviously be extremely helpful in live situations where you've got to switch quickly between two instruments. And now here it is working as an A-B output switcher. That's amplifier A and amplifier B. Here's the new NRG FORKER. This little unit is designed to enable easy and trouble-free signal splitting for setups that use two amplifiers or output sources. So it takes your input signal, goes through the dual NRG buffer circuitry that splits it into two to the two outputs. But what can be an issue sometimes if you're trying to split signals to amplifiers is they can interact in unwanted ways with each other. So you can get ground loop hum, as it's called, where they hum when you're plugged into both, or they can be out of phase with each other. And the FORKER handles this by having output A ground and signal isolated, and also being able to phase reverse output A. So output B is then normal phase and grounded, output A is ground lifted, and you can flip the phase. So that means that your amplifiers aren't working against each other out of phase. They can be clear and strong working together. No ground loop hum, no issues, all off a single 9-volt socket there. Small enough to fit under or on the tightest pedal boards. There we are, the NRG FORKER. Also really good if you want to use a wet-dry setup, taking output A to the dry amplifier, sending output B through the other effects, the wet effects, out to the wet amplifier. FORKER, and then its big brother, the FORKER Plus. It does everything the FORKER does, but it also has two inputs. So if you go into just one input, you're doing what the FORKER does, taking a single input and splitting it in two to each output. But what it can be is two individual inputs. So for example, from stereo effects, so the left and the right coming out as left and right. But again, one of them can be ground isolated and phase reversed to match correctly your output sources. It also has the ground lift available in this one, so you can choose to ground the output A if you need to or want to. And the other big thing it has are foot switches for each output. So in effect, what you've then got is an amplifier switcher. You can simply engage or bypass output A and engage and bypass output B. There they are, the FORKER and the FORKER Plus. So if you want to run setups with 2 amps or multiple outputs, you need something like this. Here we go, let's check them out. that's the FORKER splitting the input signal to two amplifiers that I've panned slightly left and right. Now I know that my two amplifiers I'm using here, one a Fender type, one a Vox type, are actually out of phase with each other. So I've got the flip switch over to the left to flip the phase of output A. And if I put it now the other way, then the amps are now out of phase with each other. You can hear it more if I mix to mono. Very hollow sounding. And now natural and full sounding with the amps working in phase with each other. Now here's what's commonly referred to as a wet-dry setup, with just one amplifier receiving the delay signal. The Nora distortion is before the FORKER, so it's going to both amplifiers. And the carbon copy delay is just over on the right hand side in output B. Now here's the FORKER Plus, that enables you to mute and engage each output separately. That's out of phase, back in again. That's ground lifted again. As you hear there, you can simply turn on and off each output. Here's the FORKER Plus receiving a stereo signal from the Boss RT20.